Back when what's now called the animal rights movement was first getting started, there was a real effort, to distinguish animal rights and animal welfare and all this kind of stuff. And I mean, I evolved a long way. I used to teach it one way, and then over the years I learned different things from listening to philosophers and read a lot of stuff. Not that I understood much of it, but I read a lot of it. I was also in a situation where our facility and me personally was one of the first people who was a target of the animal rights groups. On the old FBR list of illegal incidents, I was early. I've always been a little precocial, so what the hell. And but I decided I wasn't going to let that, bother me. I had given a presentation. I should have known better than this. A Halloween night at the Anti-Cruelty Society. There was two of the young philosophers in the movement, and myself and an investigator, and it was rather an interesting experience. These young philosophers were over there, and my head was spinning. I didn't know what the hell they were talking about. They have a different approach to life. In fact, at one point I got up after they'd done their spiel and drew the canine histocompatibility complex on the blackboard and said, "That's what my PhD is in. Do we want to talk about that?" And so finally we kind of got down to talking about little things. But because of that experience, I decided if you were going to stick your neck out of the foxhole, you better know what you're talking about. So I read Singer and a lot of the other people, and I, over the years, changed a lot of my opinions on this. But I think the problem with developing a true open dialogue, and we've had some open dialogues at Primer. I've been on programs with Andy over the years. In fact, one of the things I've always told vet students when I talk to them is something Andy Rowan quoted to me at he and I were on a program at the University of Chicago right after the first Hastings Center report came out in the 90s with one of the main authors of that, Strauchan Daly, I believe is his name. And we're trying to tell the difference between human medicine and veterinary medicine. And Andy said, well, human medicine is preserve life at all costs, and veterinary medicine is to minimize suffering. And that was I use that all the time when I'm talking to vet students and stuff. But I think what has happened is that you went from, the antivivisectionist type, they used to be categories, little old ladies in tennis shoes. And then PETA came along, and PETA was in your face. They have no shame when it comes to making their points and stuff. I think that changed the environment for the whole animal welfare, animal advocacy, whatever environment that you want to call it. And I think that put people at ease. I think that has driven a wedge between trying to communicate. We actually had a session here, which I volunteered to moderate, where we invited the people in, and the first thing that happened was the PETA person loudly proclaimed that she wasn't in there to discuss anything with anything because she didn't believe anything we did was right in the first place, blah, 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 blah. So my job monitoring for the next hour and 15 minutes was to keep people from killing each other. It was kind of interesting, but I think that's changed the environment. I think that's put an edginess to it, because I'm aware that there have people come to meetings such as Priminar, opened up their heart in a room, and then had it come back and bite them. I know this for sure because I helped them with it, where something they said, then an organization that was here in the room then asked for information under Freedom of Information Act. So you can't have a dialogue unless you can trust everybody at the table.